As in the afternoon, I find the most news happens, pops up. I get a quick synopsis of what's going on in the world in about 5 to 10 minutes. So it works out fine. Kind of like it that way. I don't want to pay attention much to the news, but I do like having a marginal understanding of what's going on in the world. So that way, you just satisfy my own needs, and it can be somewhat coherent in today's world that I generally don't participate in as much as the average person probably. Just enough to be able to carry on a relatively intelligent conversation, I guess, if the need ever arises, which doesn't very often. Anyway, let's just scroll down here and see what's going on. Fed raises interest rates over inflation affecting renters as the central bank sharply increases borrowing costs. Interest rates going up. It could lock would-be homebuyers into rentals and keep a hot market under pressure. So the rental market is going to be good, and home sales should drop because potential home buyers will wait for the interest rates to drop. I don't know when that will be. Normally, cycles come and go, and it usually is a few years to 5 years. But the way the world goes now, things happen quickly, so maybe it won't be very long at all. I honestly don't know, and I haven't seen a lot of slowdown in the area I live in the New England area, I should say, because it's a hot market, and every time I see a house put on the market, seems within a week I see an under contract sign underneath the listing for sale sign on the outside of the house. So it looks to me like this market is still pretty hot, but that's a tough break anyway for those who had saved enough money to possibly purchase a home. Now they have to stay as renters, and because there's so much demand for people to live in rental properties now until the rates drop, the landlord, if he's a businessman, is going to probably be raising the rents, and so it's a conundrum for those who wait. I think it's probably a wise move to wait, because I think prices at some point will top out and start coming down again. I don't know when. Again, there were times when you could kind of make some sort of an accurate prediction based on history, but all bets are off now. It's a different, everything's different. This society is really unique in that history doesn't really have much validation, because things change so quickly. We live in a warp speed world of technology. So I honestly don't know the answer. You didn't come here to hear me be an expert on real estate. But anyway, let's move on. Washington Post publisher said that Biden's Saudi Arabia trip erodes our moral authority. You think? I mean, can't you see Biden just kissing up to the Saudis? Because, Dementia Joe is in it for the money. He's been in it for the money since the day one he got into politics. He's left a trail of immoral activities along the way with his son Hunter, and there's all kinds of evidence out there, him speaking that he's made a lot of money on Ukraine. There's so many conflicts of interest with this guy, and of course, on top of that, he is clearly in late stage dementia, or mid stage. Let's call it mid stage. Late stage, he wouldn't be able to function at all, but he's in mid stage dementia, in declining, as far as I'm concerned, almost on a daily basis. I try to watch a few of those news conferences for comic relief. But I realize that as much as I have disdain for this guy, because I think he's, on top of a lot of other things, the number one crime he's ever committed to me is I believe he's a pedophile based on his actions, based on my observations of his actions, based on my research of people who he attended university with. Um, there's a lot of evidence out there suggesting that this guy is a hardcore pedophile, and so that's my number one disdain for this fellow. But normally I don't laugh at people who are in stages of dementia. It's sad, but in his case, sometimes I get the feeling it might be calmer. I don't know. That's not my department. Only God knows that. So anyway, let's move along here. See what else we got. GOP candidate Herschel Walker floats a jaw-dropping air pollution theory. He says we shouldn't battle pollution because our good air will just decide to go to China. I'm not even going to look into that story. This is the Huffington Post, and they're always looking for ways to disparage anyone who's not a liberal candidate. So it's probably a nothing burger, but if you want to check it out, it's on Yahoo. The Huffington Post, I should say. Let's see. Could this SCOTUS case push America toward one-party rule? This has something to do with the gerrymandering of districts, which the Democrats have abused to the max in the past. From what I understand, this Moore versus Harper case is in, I believe, North Carolina, and it would favor some Republican districts. So, of course, the Democrats are not in favor of that because, you see, in my opinion, throughout the years as a political junkie in the past, I'm no longer interested in politics other than local politics. I think I mentioned this before. The only important elections are your local elections. You elect sheriffs, you elect councilors, you elect selectmen, board members of different taxes and all that sort of stuff, school committees. These are all positions that can have an effect on you and your family locally. Federal elections, you really don't have much say. Each state's either a Republican state or a Democrat state, and there's only a few of those. There's only a few states that are up for grabs, which they call swing states. But I don't happen to live in a swing state. Massachusetts, in probably 90% of the presidential elections, has voted Democrat, regardless of the poor quality of the candidate. So but that's not the reason I don't vote. The reason I don't vote is federal elections really are so. You can't vote even a presidential candidate who you like. Because you vote for him doesn't mean he's going to carry out anything that he said he would, because he doesn't really have the power to do so with the legislature and the Senate. So, Congress and Senate make all the Congress and Senate make the laws and approve the laws, and so there's very little you can do. So I don't waste my time on that. It's just a dog and pony show, and not worth my time. Let's see. A veteran U.S. hostage negotiator is reportedly headed for Moscow to help in securing Brittany Griner's release. Oh, thank God. Actually, any American who's a prisoner in another country, I'm always rooting for them to get out. And the same with Brittany Griner, even though she's displayed very anti-American tendencies in the past. That's not the point. That's her right as an American to be anti-American, and Americans should be represented if they're captured. Although she did plead guilty to a crime she did commit. She had possession of illegal substance. Just because a substance is legal in the United States doesn't mean that it's legal in Russia. Russia takes their laws very seriously, unlike the United States, which you can do a lot of things here in the United States and get off with a slap on the wrist, or you can do something very minor and end up in jail for a long time because the legal system is really a crapshoot in this country. But anyway, I wish her well, but I don't lose any sleep over it at the same time. Sometimes, you do the crime, you do the time. I'm sure that she was told by her handlers, the Women's National Basketball Association, that these are the things we cannot take into this country. Do not do it. I'm sure this was pounded into their heads for a long, long time. She knew the risks, and unfortunately for her, she's looking at some serious time. Now, maybe this big-time negotiator can pull something off. I don't know. Anyway, let's go on and let's see what else is new there. Steve Bannon, he's a clown. Let's see here. George Soros, Hollywood mega donors bankroll Stacey Abrams leadership pack. That's all you need to know about that. You got Soros and Hollywood mega donors backing Stacey Abrams. You don't need to know anything else, in my opinion. There's nothing else you need to know. I could go to the story, but if you know Stacey Abrams, if you know George Soros, and you know the phonies in Hollywood, do you really need to know anything else about this story? Probably not. If you do, by all means, check it out. Trump White House lawyer corroborated almost everything from the bombshell hearing. The bombshell hearing. Talk about a lie. Talk about a bunch of BS. Anyway, I don't want to get into that either. Celebrities. Predatory wild boars devouring lambs and growing to gargantuan sizes. Sounds like a population in a country I'm familiar with. Rampaging wild boars weighing more than 30 stones are attacking lambs and must be culled, Scottish farmers have said. I would agree, those wild boars. I've never run into one, but I've known hunters who have. And down south, and they can be terrorizing. They can be frightening creatures. They are wild pig, baby. So the Pope says, I wouldn't live in the Vatican or Argentina if I retire. Pope Francis said he would not live in the Vatican or return to his native Argentina if and when he ever retires, but would instead like to find a church in Rome where he could continue his little political scam. No, it doesn't say that. He's just a politician. Certainly the worst pope in my lifetime. And, I think he's the Antichrist, but just my opinion. Not a religious scholar, but just my opinion. Elon Musk tears into Trump, tells him to hang up his hat. Elon Musk, in my opinion, is another fraud. I mean, I'm not defending Trump. I don't care what he says about Trump. But Trump can take care of himself. But I think Elon Musk is a fraud. I'm not even sure Elon Musk is really a billionaire. I think he's a creation, a meme almost. I don't know. I have no evidence to suggest that. He doesn't seem real to me. I think he's an actor. That's my conspiracy mind jumping around. And anyway, let's go on, see what else is going on here. Leader of Russian-occupied Ukrainian town killed by car bomb. U.S. rejects Serbian world advocated by Serbian minister. See, a lot of this stuff really doesn't have much to do with the United States. If we have some interest in a country, whether it be its resources or its access to places in the world that could potentially be trouble. Other than that, sending them a few bucks here and there, and more money than we should be sending here and there. Um, it doesn't matter. Is the anti-abortion movement rooted in white supremacy? Let me ask you this question. Is the pro-abortion movement rooted in racism? Because, well, last I read, I think it was 7 out of 10 children who are aborted, not fetuses, children who are aborted, are black. So, could it be? Anyway. Let me see. Anything else going on? The rise of a new Delta crime. Oh boy, come up with these names. BA5 combines the worst traits of Omicron with the potential for severity reminiscent of Delta, say experts. You see, someone's made so much money from this virus and the different crons, and it's just that it's never ending. They're never going to let this go because there's money in it. Think about it. I think the majority of the population is starting to catch on, but there will always be a significant percentage of the population who will always do what they're told, and that is good news for big pharma. They can come out with a new drug or a new vaccine or whatever, and they can make a lot of money. So why would they stop the scam? Again, this is just my opinion, folks. The new Trump documentary shows us exactly what he's so good at. He's a reality show star. He's a negotiator. He's probably one of the best negotiators. If I were that woman basketball player, Brittany Griner, I would hire Trump as my negotiator. He got along pretty good with Putin, and he's been known to negotiate the deal, the art of the deal. I read that book a couple of times, so that would have been a good move on her part. But I don't know what this latest Trump thing is about. Let's see. The documentary, I have no idea. And, I won't watch it. I don't care. Nevada man charged in 1982 killing a 5-year-old girl in California. So what's that? 40 years ago. Some bastard killed this innocent 5-year-old child, young girl who was going to kindergarten, kidnapped and killed her. And 40 years later, who I don't know how old he is now. Let's say he was 25, 30, and he's now, he's 70, 65, 70, I don't know. Anyway, stories like this irritate me. And I don't know, God. There's no more horrible crime than pedophilia and, the rape of children. I mean, what kind of a world are we living in when we so casually talk about it like it's the norm? Let's see. AOC pressures Chuck Schumer to say whether Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch lied under oath. It's always gotcha. Did you lie? You said this. And of course, you could get back on any politician in the history of politics. And if you had tape on them from the past, they would be lying, I'm guessing, on almost a daily basis. So, again, that's a big nothing burger, I'm sure. So Joe Biden slammed for comparing Latin people to tacos in what Hispanic journalists called a stereotype. You think? Oh boy, that poor woman. I think she's got that battered wife syndrome, or what's the disease the veterans get? I supposedly was diagnosed with that at one time. Yeah, I think she's. I think there's something wrong with her. I don't think she has dementia, but she's got something wrong that she keeps parading that husband of hers out there, knowing fully well that he he is in deep decline, and it's pretty evil stuff. She knows that Dementia Joe took naked showers with her daughter. She knows that. Daughter came out and told her, and told the world pretty much. I guess she's in an article or whatever. But yeah, she's got problems. What else? There's nothing much going on other than that. Not exactly a monumental day, but a few chuckles with the tacos. And, Dementia Joe's always good for a laugh. But I guess I'm going to sign off because I don't see anything else of any real interest. If I find something, I'll drop on later. If you're watching this video, thanks. If not, thanks anyway. Maybe someday. Talk to you later.